Hi, I'm Adam with the Markham Fire and Emergency Services. What we've provided for you here today is a video on home daycare fire safety. Now, some daycares are licensed, some daycares are unlicensed. Either way, we're going to provide you some vital tips that are going to help keep you and the people that you care for in your home safe. Now, a few things you want to keep in mind is you always want to check with the ministry or your local fire department. They may have specific rules or regulations that may apply to you in your own municipality that you need to follow. Either way, I hope you enjoy. The next component I'd like to talk to you about is your fire safety plan. Now, if you're licensed by the ministry, you're required to have a fire safety plan reviewed and approved by your local fire department. If you operate an unlicensed daycare, we still recommend that you have a home fire escape plan, or if your home daycare is in Markham, we do have a specific daycare home fire escape plan. These are important because they are going to capture all the items with respect to fire safety that are going to keep you and your home daycare safe. A few components of the home escape plan or your fire safety plan that I want to touch on specifically is, number one, your emergency contact list. Your emergency contact list is going to include numbers for fire, police, and EMS, as well as maybe your local hospital, contact numbers for the children, or maybe even a doctor nearby. Another thing that's going to be included in your fire safety plan or your home fire escape plan is your emergency procedures. Those emergency procedures are going to include what to do in the event that a fire is discovered, as well as what to do in the event that the smoke alarm activates. It's going to give you great tips and a sequence to follow in the event of those emergencies. There is also going to be included in the home escape plan or your fire safety plan is drawings of the facility. This is going to be a good exercise to draw the floor plan, identify 2 ways out of every room, and give you a more intimate knowledge of your home daycare as well as the exits that are provided for it throughout your home, whether it's in the basement or on the first floor.
Hi, we're talking about home daycare and wiring. So if you have things like freezers or fridges where the children are, they're designed to be plugged directly into an outlet. But things like lamps, computer, video games, if you have to, you can use a power bar for the extra wiring. They're designed to shut off if there's a power surge or a failure with the unit itself. Any unused outlets, put a plastic cover on them. Stop children from playing with them at times. Any exposed wiring, it should be capped and covered. We don't want children playing with anything that's exposed. So make sure you cap it and then cover it. It shuts it off. We're still talking about electrical wiring in the basement. So extension cords. This one here is plugged in. It goes behind the sofa. And every time a sofa moves, it's going to rub on the cord, which can cause an electrical problem. These are designed for temporary use. Things like using the vacuum, you use it, and then you unplug the cord. We don't want it still plugged in. And once you've got the empty outlet, then you put your plastic cover plates on, and it protects the plates and the electrical wiring from the children. Our final message on electrical wiring in the basement is open outlets. Every outlet should have a cover on it. If it doesn't, you can go to any hardware store and you can buy the plates and put them on. You should never have outlets that aren't covered up. So make sure you cover out every outlet with a plate, and then to finish it off, make sure you put in your plastic covers to protect the children.
The next point I'd like to discuss with you with respect to your home daycare is housekeeping. Few items specifically. Number one is with artwork. If you have children engaging in artwork on a daily basis, whether it's painting or coloring, or even coming up with drawings on their own, it's important that we do not have that artwork build up and cover the entire wall space. We recommend coverage of about 15 to 20%. What you have to remember is that artwork is flammable. It can burn. If you have a fire, that additional combustible material on the wall is going to increase the spread of the fire. It's going to grow faster, it's going to develop a lot more smoke, and we need to get a lot of young children out of the house quickly. So every second is going to count. So a good rule of thumb is if we have children engaging in artwork on a daily basis, is when new artwork is created, we take it over, we take down the old artwork that we have up on the board, and we replace it with the new artwork. The old artwork can then be given to each child to take home and display in their own homes. The next thing I want you to think about with housekeeping is keeping your paths of travel clear. Again, as you can see in this home daycare, we have very nice wide paths of travel. What that's going to do again is give us valuable seconds that are going to help us escape from our home if there is a fire emergency. Keep the storage to the exterior walls and keep the center of the room wide open so we don't have anything that we can trip or fall over in the event of trying to escape in an emergency. The next message I want to share with you is about carbon monoxide detectors. As you can see in this basement, we have a wide open space. If you choose to use the basement as part of your home daycare, that's fine. There's just a few things you want to keep in mind. If you are using the basement and their children are sleeping or napping throughout the day, you need to have a carbon monoxide detector installed in the basement. The reason being is the bylaw requires that a carbon monoxide detector be installed on the sleeping level. So again, if you have children napping or sleeping in the basement, you have to have one. A few things you want to keep in mind with your carbon monoxide detector is it needs to be tested once a month. On the left side of this unit, it has a test button. You press that once a month, it's going to go through an audible test. It's also going to go through an LED test. That's going to confirm to you that the carbon monoxide detector is working properly. Second thing you want to do is vacuum it. You need to maintain it. Every 3 months, you want to vacuum around the perimeter of the carbon monoxide detector and in the detection chamber. What that is going to do is remove any dust particles or any insects that may be caught inside, and they can cause false alarms. Thirdly, you want to make sure you're always on top of the date of your carbon monoxide detector. At the 6 to 8 year mark, you want to look at replacing the carbon monoxide detector because it's going to start to deteriorate sensitivity and it's going to be subjected to more false alarms. So keep those things in mind with respect to your carbon monoxide detector. The next message I'd like to share with you is about smoke alarms. The law now requires one smoke alarm to be installed on every level of the home. That's the minimum. As you can see, I have a smoke alarm located on the ceiling above me. That's the typical location where you will find smoke alarms in your home. Few things we want to keep in mind with respect to this smoke alarm. Number one is testing. We have to test smoke alarms once a month. There's a test button located on the smoke alarm. Press the button, it will go through an audible check, and that lets you know that the smoke alarm is working. Next thing is maintenance. How we maintain our smoke alarm is by vacuuming around the perimeter and in the detection chamber. What that's going to do is draw out any dust particles or insects that have collected in the smoke alarm and allow it to operate properly. Those insects and that dust inside the smoke alarm could lead to false alarms. We need to prevent the false alarms. Thirdly is the battery. If your smoke alarm is battery powered, you want to make sure that you replace the battery once a year. What people forget is that smoke alarms work 24/7. They're always checking the air quality. So we need to make sure it has a fresh battery so the smoke alarm can operate properly and quickly if there's smoke in the air. Finally is replacement. If your smoke alarms are 6 to 8 years old, you want to start considering a replacement. What happens is the sensitivity starts to deteriorate and they don't activate as quickly. So around that 6-8 year mark, we want to look at replacing the unit completely.
Hi, what we're doing today is talking about fire extinguishers in home daycares. And there's two things that we have to remember: the type of fire extinguisher and the size of the fire extinguisher. What we need is a multi-purpose fire extinguisher, A, B, and C. The A extinguisher or type stands for ordinary combustibles like wood, paper, plastic, and cardboard. The B is flammable liquids, oil, gas, paint, things like that. And the C is energized electrical appliances like toasters and kettles and microwaves. When it comes to the size of the fire extinguisher you actually need for your daycare, we're recommending a 2A 10BC. And when you think of a 2A, it's equivalent to taking 10 liters of water and throwing it on the fire. And then the 10B covers 10 square feet. So that's the capability of what this fire extinguisher can actually do, is cover 10 square feet. And the C means it's non-conductive, which if you use it on electrical fire, the electricity will not flow back and hurt you. They are available in any big box store or hardware store. The staff there can actually give you advice and help you on picking the proper one for your home daycare. So when it comes to the operation of a fire extinguisher, it does tell you on the label how to actually operate it, and the one word that we always use is PASS. P-A-S-S. So the pull stands for pull at the pin, the P is for pull at the pin, the A is for aim the nozzle at the base of the fire, S, squeeze the trigger, and S, sweep back and forth. That whole reaction should take you anywhere between 5 and 7 seconds, and your fire could be extinguished in that time. And don't forget to back away once you've finished with that motion. We also have to consider our maintenance. And what we want you to look at is the gauge to make sure the needle is actually in the green. We check the hose to make sure there's nothing blocking the hose. And then we take it actually off the wall and we shake it back and forth. And that allows us to feel the powder moving inside. And that indicates that it's loose and ready for use. And we have to do that on a monthly basis. Hi, another message for those operating with a daycare in their home is cooking. You know, when we have to cook for the children, we're in the kitchen, there should be at least a meter clear space around the stove that children are allowed into. What we do prefer is keeping the children out of the kitchen completely. When you're cooking on the stove, use the back burner. Keep your handles pointed in so that there's nothing sticking over. If it does catch on fire, what you can do is put your oven mitt on, take your pot lid, which should always be on the counter beside the stove, and put it on, then turn it off. If you are forgetful sometimes, what we can do is use the timer on the stove to remind us to go back in and watch what we're cooking.
The next message I'd like to share with you is about your furnace room. As you can see, we have a water heater and a furnace located in this room. What you need to do is keep 1 meter clearance from combustibles, so anything that can burn, away from these units. The reason being is they are fuel fired. If you have storage too close to these appliances, it's not going to allow it to have sufficient combustion air. What that means is the pilot light will go out and you could have a natural gas leak in your home. It can be extremely dangerous. The second thing you want to think about is, again, if you're using the basement as part of your home daycare, that's fine, but you want to have the furnace room as a completely separated room. And you also want to have that room have limited access to adults only. The next component I'd like to discuss with you is fire drills. Now, fire drills need to be performed on a monthly basis, and it's important that you document each fire drill. You want to record the date and the time. You also want to time your fire drills, so grab a stopwatch and record the time from the minute the smoke alarm activates to the time that you get outside safely and call 911. The next thing you want to keep in mind when documenting your fire drill is any notes or notables that pop up as a result of the fire drill. For example, if you have young children and it takes you a lot longer to gather them during nap time, or some of the children may react negatively to the smoke alarm, maybe they're afraid of it. All those things are vital in reducing the amount of time it takes us to evacuate out. We build on each fire drill and we just get better and better, and that's going to make your daycare a lot safer.
Oh God, that was
Perfect.
good.
So we hope you've enjoyed our video. As you can see, we've covered things such as fire extinguishers, home escape planning, as well as housekeeping. Again, we always urge you to contact the ministry and your local fire department, because they may have specific rules or regulations that will apply to you in your municipality that we haven't covered here today. Again, if you have a home daycare in Markham, you can contact us directly at 905-477-5530, and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions or come to your home and offer you some tips in person to make you and your home daycare safe. We hope you enjoyed the video. We hope you got a lot out of it. Stay safe.